Hello, good day, everybody. Welcome to all. And yeah, thanks for joining us at today's daily dose of Live at the Waterhole. Welcome to everybody. Yeah, we're beginning off with a nice big female giraffe here. It's Old Donyo out in Kenya, East Africa. And before we proceed, don't forget my name is Andrew. I'm going to be looking after you for the next 2 hours here at Live at the Waterhole this afternoon. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to receiving some comments, some questions, and so on. And if you'd like to do so, please register yourself on the website. You can also take part in the YouTube chat platform by typing at FC before your message, and then also Twitter by using the hashtag. Alright, and there's also a few platforms if you'd like on social media. Twitter is going to be at Wild Earth, Instagram is going to be Wild Earth Official, and then Facebook is going to be Wild Earth. Right, good stuff. We've got that out the way, and we can begin to enjoy some time in nature this afternoon. Yeah, so as I say, it's always nice to receive some questions and comments. Yeah, it's really makes things a lot easier. You know, going through some questions that people might have about nature, sharing stories, yeah, and just experiences in nature. Because after all, I do like to say that nature is for everybody at the end of the day. And what would it be if we couldn't share it? So this afternoon, the next 2 hours, I'll be around, and we can see what's happening in the land of nature. All right, it's a little bit of cloud cover in Kenya side, Oldonyo. A little bit of cloud cover, but nonetheless, there's still some nice light coming through. And I think these giraffe are just enjoying that moment in the sun today, just sort of broadcasting their body on that warmth. Penelope, good afternoon. Not sure what time it is your side, but from where I am, it's just gone past 12:30 now. So yeah, we've just hit the middle of afternoon now, middle of the day. So good one to you, and I'm glad you enjoy the experience that we provide here. It's always nice to get feedback, and to know that it's for some people at least that yeah, this experience does fill a niche out there. So we're looking forward to some good sightings again this afternoon. Chulu is going to be the director this afternoon, and he's going to be selecting the respective cameras depending on what sort of animals are out and about there. So look forward to working with you again, Chulu. Hey, Dark Main Lover. Wow, it's been a pretty long time, hey? So I hope you're doing good your side, and good afternoon to you as well. Yeah, it's nice to do something a little bit different. You know, just relaxing at home, catching a bit of a break in inverted commas. But it's nice just to do something a little bit different, change things up once in a while. Yeah, and remain the same focus as normal, which is nature. Yeah, it's a nice view of this gemsbok, or this oryx. We call them gemsbok in South Africa. I know they call them oryx, but I think they're a little bit different to the ones that we have in South Africa. But speaking of which, let's head off to South Africa. Let's go down to Tau Lodge, see what's happening at the waterhole that side. All right, so from Kenya all the way to the northwest. Uh, it's not too far from Botswana, in fact, and not too far from the Kalahari either. So a very different type of a land we're looking at now, with different animals. And right in the middle, I can obviously see the obvious staring at everybody in the face. Looks like two crocodiles on the bank there. Right, some blue wildebeest and some waterbuck as well. Just enjoying the what we often call it an oasis in the bush, where suddenly there's a little bit of water that can support some life, and that's what we're seeing now. Oh, there's a third crocodile. It's amazing how they camouflage. When you look at that crocodile that's there by those rocks, I mean, the camouflage is actually pretty good. Oh, Penelope, thank you. Yeah, it's Chulu has just sent this through to me now, saying that you're at Sheffield Beach. Okay, so KwaZulu-Natal North Coast. Well, yeah, we share the same country, but by no means is it around the corner from where I am. So yeah, northern north KwaZulu-Natal northern part. That's lovely, eh? That northern section of the Kruger National of the KwaZulu-Natal. It's very pristine and wild. Yeah, crocodiles have always fascinated me ever since I was a young man. Not just because my uncle is very passionate about crocodiles and spent a good portion of his life breeding them, but a very prehistoric animal. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. Is it 75 million years or something that they've been surviving, and through all of that time, however long it is that they've been surviving, they haven't really changed all that much. And what we are looking is, in a sense, a living fossil dating back from Jurassic times, sharing the same habitats as dinosaurs and so on. Jive Bunny, yeah, I've noticed. I have definitely noticed. I've been fortunate enough to have been to Madikwe Game Reserve, and it's different type of a land, and therefore different type of a wildlife. So of course, Madikwe being famous for the wild dog sightings that they have out there. It's some really phenomenal stuff. If you've ever seen any footage, or if you've been lucky enough to see the wild dogs there yourselves, but really, it's one of the reserves in South Africa that is well known for incredible wild dog sightings. T, good afternoon to you, T. Crocodiles. I like to say a crocodile is an anytime hunter. Whenever the opportunity arises, a crocodile's gonna hunt, whether it's day or night. The only time they don't really hunt is when it's really cold. Then they become extremely sluggish, and the wildlife, I'm pretty sure, figured that out. That crocodiles during the winter months are a lot more placid, and less active than in the summer months. And they're what we call ectothermic beings. Um, they rely on they don't generate their own heat. Crocodiles, I'm talking about, and reptiles and so on. They're gonna rely on the warmth of the land, the warmth of the sun, to provide that heat for them. And if there's none of that, then they become sluggish and they become very inactive. Yeah, some nice close-ups. Yeah, I just wish they were facing us, because I see the one has definitely got its mouth open, and a little portion of its tail seems to be snipped off. That's the one on the right side. Yeah, very, very opportunistic. Crocodiles, there's with certain predator species, they generally have a, how do I say, they've got certain species that they go for. Um, yes, we see on documentaries crocodiles going for impalas and wildebeest and catfish and all sorts of things, but in a sense, they will go for absolutely anything that's in the water, that is considered a meal, and that can be even to the degree of water monitors. Snakes also, sometimes snakes do go into the water and try and swim across the water. Crocodiles will go for snakes as well. Now there's a few river lines that run through South Africa. When we talk about these river lines, we think of the likes of the Limpopo River and so on, which is way up in the north of the country, and it's a natural boundary for a few other countries like Mozambique and Zimbabwe and so on. And the crocodiles in those waters, they have attacked people before, and they do consider them prey items. So often refugees coming across water systems like the Limpopo, yeah, it's really a ginormous risk, because the crocodiles, they are attracted to people that are wandering through those water systems.
I feel it is a rosetted morning for us. So yes, let's see what we can find.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change. Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
We are here with a male leopard.
Lyra, yes, crocodiles can catch things on land. It's not very common, but there's a fair amount of footage of it being done. And they run on land. They can't run for too long, especially in a burst for hunting, because that's when they're really pushing top speed. I'm not even sure what their top land speed is, but it's much faster than you and I. and they could grab things, not very often, but it is well documented. Now you can also see the the very white teeth in the front there. So a crocodile of this size, it's going to be a number of years, but how come those teeth are white? And they actually get replaced almost daily. Crocodiles fight, crocodiles catch things, crocodiles snap their jaws closed, teeth get lost, and they constantly, for the rest of their life to infinity, get replaced. Right, quite a blunt snouted one. This could be a male. That's one of the means in which you sexually dimorph crocodiles. Is the males do have a bit of a blunter muzzle, and the reason for that is fighting. The males fight a lot for females to breed with, but the females do a fair amount of fighting themselves as well. Defending their young is a big one. Protecting their nesting sites, yeah, that's also a very big one. You must watch crocodiles during the nesting time. And you see a crocodile on land, hanging around a certain spot. Okay, there's a good chance that there is some eggs under the sand, which they will provide 100% parental care to. If anything goes near that nesting site, if the adult can get hold of it, it'll kill it. And then once the young hatch, they make a very specific sound, and the hatch and the adult will dig them up. And she will hear the sound made by her young crocs from the water. And she'll come out the water and assist in pulling him out the water. Out the ground. Right, this was a very nice experience with this crocodile, just relaxing in the sun with him. We're going to go to the Hoedspruit Endangered Wildlife Species Center now. So let's go and take a look what's happening that side. Right, just what I was hoping for. Yeah, I saw this cheetah yesterday. If it's the same one, it looks like her. Definitely a female. And there are 3 little cubs that are around. Not right now. Right, everybody, many of you already know this, but I'm just going to reiterate. So the Hoedspruit endangered species in Hoedspruit is it's almost like a sanctuary, if that's the best wording, for endangered species, all in the name of conservation, genetic integrity of cheetahs, and also potentially redistribution of cheetahs into the wild and so on. So this is a sanctuary, so you will see a fence. This is not a zoo by any means. Right, these animals have got a very important role to play in just helping the species stay alive. And many of you might not know this, but this is a highly endangered animal. They've been endangered for well over 50 years already, and that's 50 years. It's a long time. So the genetics are incredibly precious, and sort of organizations like this have got a big foothold or a footmark in the assisting in the genetic integrity of cheetah genetics. So good job. Penelope, this is your favorite wild cat in the bush. Okay, nice one. Yeah, cheetahs are really cool animals. Having a bit of time spending with them in different reserves in South Africa. Right, I do apologize if there's some foreign noises coming from my side. I'm just going to mute for a minute.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
Thanks. Right, back at Tau Game Lodge. Tau, the lion. Madikwe Game Reserve, this is in the northwest province of South Africa. Teeming with different types of wildlife. As you can see, some some blue wildebeest, got some impala, and crocodiles, and so much more. Okay, yeah, definitely a fair amount of blue wildebeest out in this part, or this reserve in South Africa. When I was there, I'm just trying to think when last I was there. It was definitely more than a year ago. I think it was about a year and a half or 2 years ago. It's definitely one of the more popular species around. Is the blue wildebeest. Well, I keep on getting confused now between the two species. Fair amount of impalas, big impala rams occurring in these remote parts, and also quite big herds of impala as well. I remember doing one segment when we were there about 2 years ago with a group of impala that was about 100 strong in the group. So it just goes to show that the sort of the group dynamics there are fairly large when it comes to some of the herbivores like blue wildebeest, impala. Nice plain zebra, looks like falling asleep on its own back, or is it watching something? I can't really tell. You can hear that yellow-breasted apelus in the background. Chin spot batis as well, calling away. Okay, great. Just relaxing in the sun with these wildebeest this afternoon and that lone plain zebra. But let's go back to Oldonyo, Kenya, while there's some elephants around. Let's go and take a look there. Lovely stuff. Nicely selected chulu. Beautiful elephant bulls this, not so. That one on the left side. Very impressive tusks. Alright, yeah, just looking at an elephant bull like that one on the left hand side sort of reminds me very much of the Kenyan elephants out at Amboseli. And Amboseli National Park is not very far from Oldonyo, where you are at now. It's roughly about 60 kilometers away, so incredibly quick. Well, not a quick, it's a short distance, but a very slow drive. It takes about 2 hours to get there. Depending on traffic and of course the speed limit only being 80 kilometers an hour out in East Africa, but not too far around the corner. And one of the definitely one of the eastern famous places is going to be the the look of these Kenyan elephants. Of course, the view of Mount Kilimanjaro from Amboseli, and being 59 kilometers away from Amboseli, I'm pretty sure there's a view of Mount Kilimanjaro somewhere if we could have a panoramic look around. Percy, good afternoon, Percy. I don't know, 1 ton. I'm presuming it's an elephant. I'm not quite sure who that is. Maybe you can let me know, so in the future I can be on the lookout for this 1 ton. It would be nice to know who is this individual that everybody keeps talking about. Sounds like a very infamous chap. We had a question a little bit earlier on, but we changed cameras, so I decided to hold back. But Jive Bunny was wondering about how many species of giraffe there are there in Kenya. Unfortunately, the giraffes now have just walked to the side, but there's 3 species there. I was lucky to see Maasai giraffe out in Tanzania, or Tanzania better known as. That's a lovely close-up. Almost 2 of my favorite things all in the one shot. A beautiful tusked elephant, and then some lovely clouds in the background. I think Chulu did that on purpose this afternoon because he knows that I like both. So Chulu, yeah, you did good. Right, so one of these elephants obviously has got very impressive tusks. The other one has an impressive tusk. Not tusks, unfortunately. The other one is broken off. I wonder where that one is. But I would imagine broken off from a fight or something like that. And it's broken off right in the inside. Not the best places to have a breakage. Alright, thank you Chulu for sending me some information about 1 ton. It's nice to read up about him. So I've just learned this, and I'm pretty sure once I read this out that somebody's going to learn out there from this as well. But in case you don't know who 1 ton is, he's a very well-known tusker. It's a male elephant known for his impressive size and impressive tusks. Frequently visits the Oldonyo Lodge. So that's quite nice, and is considered a super tusker. Oh, wonderful. Wow, that's something to look forward to. Once he pops around, I'm pretty sure I'll know when I see him that this is 1 tusker, just by the description. Something I've been doing while I was with Morgan at Amakala for the last 2 stints was talking about some of the Tanzanian tales, and this basically is every now and then giving a few snippets about my trip to East Africa and you know, the sightings, and we spoke about feelings, we spoke about experiences, we've spoken about so much, and I've shared so much. But the one thing I found impressive and smart with that land and the people of that land is they make the national parks all 100% open. There's no fences between national parks. They're all linked one way or another, forming a super land. And when we think of like ginormous land, we would consider, let's say for example, 1,000,000 hectares would be considered huge land. But now when we think about Tanzania, we think about Kenya, national parks all being open, the size of those individual national parks all linked to one, we are talking so many millions of hectares. And the whole idea was to have a free roaming system for the animals. It's a healthier system, it's a happier system, and it's a system that really thrives. Animals leave, new ones come in. When situations are dry and there's not enough food, animals migrate out. This is what normally would have happened before what we call micro reserves coming in. Whenever you put a fence around a reserve, and it doesn't matter how big that reserve is, as soon as you put a fence, you change the dynamic of that reserve. Alright, apologies for that. We just lost Aldonio, but that's fine. Oh, we've got looks like a penguin busy hiding out here. Yeah, Stony Point, a nature reserve out in Betty's Bay, a place I've never been, but I've seen a lot of it on screen before. I think that's where Byron used to do a lot of the Penguin Beach, if I'm not mistaken. I'll admit there's not too much that I know about penguins, but they are fascinating creatures. They're fascinating to watch. And I mean, since I was a young lad, I do remember a lot of talks from when I was very young about colonies of penguins declining and declining and declining. And this went on until my teens and then my early adulthood, and to this very day, where I'm now in my 30s, and they are still talking about it. So, I mean, this is a species of animal that, in a sense, is in crisis, and something really drastic needs to be done soon. Otherwise, one day there could be none left. Penelope, nice celebration there. Yeah, for a sleeping penguin chick, but that's alright, we'll take it.
this unfolds in front of you.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an art fork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is Jem. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
Oh, very nice and up close and personal here. There's some blue wildebeest, nice and close to the camera here. And I can see exactly why. There's obviously some food here for them, giving the ability to get that perfect selfie shot taken by some of our passionate screenshotters of Wild Earth. They are pretty simple animals, and I'm not meaning anything bad about the term simple, and I'm going to emphasize how sometimes in nature, simple is best. And that goes with most things in life. As soon as you complicate things, that's when, complications come in. Keep it simple. So we look at wildebeest, and there was often talk about on safari and sometimes with guides saying wildebeest are not the smartest of creatures. And I look at an animal like this and I really disagree. Lauren, who many of you know and love, had a very nice way of saying it, that animals are as smart as what they need to be to survive. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's 100% makes sense. Because survival on a daily basis. Gotta keep things simple. Captain, I agree with you. Just look at this fellow over here. He's really enjoying this attention here, getting that perfect portrait taken. Nice little hairstyle at the back there, and some polished horns. This actually looks like a female, this one. And sometimes when we think about predators, and how difficult it is sometimes for predators to find food, and the techniques that they need to constantly come up with and constantly find new ways to adapt and so on. It's tough on predators as well. And I think there's a big niche in the wilderness, in the wild, where wildebeest do provide a huge niche, because in most game reserves where wildebeest of whichever species occur, it's generally the main prey diet for lions. So in a way, it fills a huge niche in the wilderness, because it gives lions a chance to get something, whereas most of the other things are fairly difficult to catch. When you look at kudu, impalas, springbuck, they're very tricky to catch. Yeah, I see this, Penelope. I'm noticing this as well. Yeah, Etosha. It's somewhere where I've always heard about. Ever since I became a guide, this is one of the areas of Africa that you keep hearing about. Etosha. The strong genetics of wildlife out there. The big dark maned lions of the bush. Very impressive, and a lot of genetics that get introduced into other parts usually are Etosha lions, because they are incredibly tough and they're really built to survive. They're strong, they're bigger, there's more dominance, there's bigger territories involved. Right, some brilliant close-ups of this blue wildebeest, but let's head off to olifants. Oh, let's actually go to founders and see what's happening that side of the world. Let's go to the Eastern Cape. Oh, beautiful. Very nice. Just in time for a white rhino young bull. Not very young, but just recently reached maturity. Okay, one thing you are going to notice about this rhino bull is there's actually two things you're going to notice. Firstly, there's a clear cut on his horn there, and there's also on the front right leg is a tracking device. Okay, so yeah, I think probably everybody knows why reserves such as this will do these sort of practices and procedures on rhinos, is to protect them, is to keep them safe. Yeah, for an animal that the horn is worth so much per kilogram, you're talking a lot of value. The reserves have adopted this idea that rather remove the thing that everybody, not everybody, but the market wants, and that's the rhino horn. Nothing else is wanted, it's just the rhino horn. Also, these tracking collars are highly sophisticated collars. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it is a tracking device, so they will be able to locate this rhino whenever they want to, the reserve, the conservation team. But there's also other information which I'm not going to dive into just yet, until I get clearance that I can actually talk about these things. But yeah, there's going to be other information that all aids in understanding if a rhino is a threat. Penelope, yes, I'm not too far from this very rhino's position. I'm about 100 and maybe 20 kilometers east. Not very far. So we're enjoying some nice weather. It's cool. There's a bit of wind in the evenings or in the afternoons, late afternoons. But for a winter's day, we're okay. We had a very long summer in the Eastern Cape, and we can't complain. So we must embrace the beauty of winter. Captain, yeah, this bull here, I would imagine, is probably just over 2 tons, 2,000 something kilograms in weight. He's a big boy. And if I was to estimate, I would say this rhino is about 20 years old. Wildlife lady, thank you for that. Yeah, and this rhino is also giving you a bit of a thank you for that as well. Yeah, it's wonderful to see rhinos in any area. Yeah, no, this. Yeah, when I was a guide, when I first started guiding, this is when rhino poaching started to become tremendously severe. And I thought that at one stage I was going to witness the extinction of the species. I guess it can still happen, but now with the amount of conservation happening of rhinos, wow. And I take my hat off to all the teams that are involved that we will never ever hear about, we never know about, but there is a lot of work being done, a lot of money being put into the conservation of the species of rhinos. Alright, not too much happening in the water here. It is winter now. I don't think we're going to see too much amphibian or fish life. Right, let's move on. It was a good time spent here at Founders. We're going to go to Olifants now. Let's go check it. Right, so Olifants West Game Reserve. Yeah, the Olifants River. Very famous for elephant movement around the Olifants. Heading towards the northern parts of Kruger. Not quite the full north, but making your way to the north. Right, this elephant bull didn't stick around for too long.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max.
I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
These are very smart animals. These are very vigilant animals. There's no doubt that this youngster knows that the camera's watching him. Probably saw a little bit of movement, heard a little bit of buzzing. They know. They know exactly that we're watching them. Right, monkeys didn't stick around for too long. Let's go and see Stony Point for now. See what's happening there. Okay, from the bush to the beach. Let's see what's happening around here. So many crevices and hiding places here for animals. But Chulu knows some of them. Got some young penguins here. I'm not even sure which penguin this is. I'm not going to pretend like I do. It's a lovely little cave there. Yeah, it must be quite a feeling when you're a young animal and you're exposed amongst rocks to find yourself a little cave to hide in. Penelope, you waiting for these youngsters to come out? That would be nice, eh? I think they're a little bit cold at the moment, to be honest with you. Being surrounded by rock doesn't help either, but yeah, the insulation on these animals is just something. Keeps them really warm when naturally we would feel really cold. Yeah, I think they're fast asleep inside there. Not too much happening here. Let's go back to Lentora. I think there's a bit more happening that side. Okay, never mind. We're at Vic Falls now, and yo, there's a lot happening here. Of course, walking around, the bigger ones being marabou storks, and yeah, there's a number of vultures in here. I'm just trying to see which ones these are. Yo, there is so many here. And I don't think they're just coming up for the water. What is dead here? There must be something that has passed away somewhere here. Oh, Lady Macbeth. Okay, so this is a vulture restaurant. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I've been to one or two of these in my life before. Not in Zimbabwe though, but in other areas as well. And again, yeah, you can do a lot of monitoring of the species via vulture restaurants. You can do a lot of tagging and so on. It was a very interesting experience I had in the Golden Gates National Park, which, yeah, it's a very unique sort of a reserve. It's quite large. It's all sandstone, and the sandstone is constantly changing through erosion. So if you come this year and you see some of those hills, when you go next year, some of them are a little bit different. And yeah, there's a vulture restaurant that they have there as well. And we went out there hoping to find the Lamachai vulture. We went a few times. All we managed to find was a jackal, but no vultures. But we will keep trying, I guess, in the future, as that's one of the vulture species I've never seen. Now we think about the importance of vultures, not just because they clean up carcasses, but they also help regulate an ecosystem. Because animals surely must die at some point, and those bodies need to be removed. Animals will get killed, and those bodies need to be removed. Sometimes dung and scat, that needs to be removed as well. And this is where vultures come in and create a much healthier system for everything else to survive in that same system. Otherwise diseases would run rampant. Animals would be getting sick. Animals would be eating those sick animals. They would be getting sick, and so on until the whole ecosystem collapses. So vulture being one family of animal providing such an important niche in nature. You take one link out and there's catastrophic failure of the chain. And something that's also fascinating to watch in nature is when you watch predators like lions or leopard or whatever the case may be, in hyena as well, spotted hyena, and they're often watching the skies, and when they see such vultures flying over, they know exactly what that means, and that brings in more scavengers or animals that are wanting to scavenge, and therefore regulates more of the system. That lessens the chances of meat to go completely rotten where animals don't want to eat it, and becomes a problem, and diseases, bacteria formation and all of that. Yeah, Penelope, it looks like we have missed a feeding. To be honest, these vultures are full. They're all standing around. Very few of them are on the treetops. This is a sign that they've eaten. Our vultures, they fill themselves up, and they can barely fly. Sometimes they cannot fly after a full belly. But maybe next time we'll be in time for the feeding. But yeah, let's go back to Founders Eastern Cape. Let's see what Tadiwa, who is now director on duty this afternoon, is going to show us. Wonderful to see these animals. I think this is the first time for me on camera. Some young sable antelope. Sable, coming from the color, that reddish shine. Now you must see the big bulls when they're fully mature, this beautiful dark red shine that they have. I don't know what bird this is at the bottom of the screen, but it is very, very curious. Really wants a little sneak peek at us here. What is that? Egyptian goose? I can't really see. Right, yeah, sable antelope for many years was considered one of the very expensive antelopes to buy at these game auctions and so on. They became so expensive that people were interested in breeding them so that they could sell the offspring and the genetics and so on, and they would make a hefty amount of money doing it. Yeah, but recently, over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, that niche market has now dropped. So that's not like it was before. So a lot of these breeding farms now are collapsing and they're selling out and so on. But for a very long time, sable antelope, if you wanted to breed an antelope, sable would be the one to breed.
I met this remarkable rhino bull
his name is Samson last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
And this sable went down to the water to go and drink, and a crocodile grabbed it. And then the reserve management at the time heard about this, and they were concerned because that's quite an expensive meal for a crocodile. So they tried to intervene, but then Mother Nature said, no, you will not intervene, because this hippopotamus, because these guys were walking outside of their vehicles by the water, watching this crocodile fighting this sable antelope, and the sable's still alive. And this hippopotamus in the water said, not going to happen today. You're not going to disturb this crocodile from his meal, and you're not going to choose if this crocodile can have this animal or not. So this hippopotamus chased these people out the water. It ran and towards these people, that these people didn't have enough time to get in their vehicle. There was too little time. So the best thing they could do was climb under their vehicle. So they climbed underneath this vehicle, and it wasn't a very heavy vehicle. It's almost a type of a vehicle that is made from 100 million other parts from other vehicles. So you can try and imagine what this vehicle looked like. It was quite a light vehicle. But this hippo pushed this vehicle, trying to get to these guys underneath the vehicle. And these guys, they figured the best thing they can do is to hold on to the chassis of the vehicle while this hippo pushed it around, really hoping that the hippo never capsized the vehicle or pushed it onto its side. And luckily these guys managed to get away, and definitely has a story to tell the grandkids later on in life. But that's how precious sable antelope were at one stage seen, that even the predators mustn't eat them. Canine Girl, thank you for that. And also, just like Dark Main Lover, it's been a long time since we've spoken, but it's good to be back. I've done live at the Waterhole before, but it's been a while. It's been at least 4 months, 5 months, But it's nice to be able to combine, you know, being at home and sort of double backing, having relaxed time, and at the same time, you know, being with all the viewers, being with all of you, and yeah, keeping in the swing of it. Thanks, Wildlife Lady, for that heads up. It's good to know that this waterhole is a good one for sable antelope. I never even knew that this area, which is not too far from Amakala, had sable antelope. I had no idea until today. So it's a learning from both sides here. It's quite a fascinating story about these red-billed oxpeckers. I know I've spoken about it a few times in the past, but the red-billed oxpeckers in the Eastern Cape were 100% extinct. There was not even one. And this was a result of secondary poisoning. Farmers, you know, trying to dip their cattle and so on. I mean, back then there wasn't so much knowledge on secondary poisoning, so you can't really blame them. But the entire population got poisoned and gone for many years. And they tried an introduction of the red-billed oxpeckers again in later years. The first introduction was unsuccessful. The oxpeckers died. I'm not quite sure what was the story there. But the second introduction was successful. And to this day, we're still seeing oxpeckers flying around, and we're seeing one or two of them on the sable antelope now. So it's some good work reintroducing a species that is crucial for the environment. It's crucial for the ecosystem as well. Controlling ticks on animals is a must. Also hampers disease. And here we go, just the tips of the horns. Alright, this sable's long gone now, so we're going to leave the Eastern Cape. We're going to go back to Madikwe at Tau. I believe there's some wildebeest around there. Let's go check. Right, back to Madikwe in the northwest, and teeming with life as it always is. Some impala, some blue wildebeest, some plain zebra. Alright, Spas Lankov, good afternoon to you. Just showing a little bit of insight there. So we're speaking about the red-billed oxpeckers. I know we're not in the Eastern Cape right now, but we're speaking about the red-billed oxpeckers, and at one stage extinct from the Eastern Cape. The yellow-billed oxpecker, I think the yellow-billed oxpecker have always been in lower numbers in the general population than red-billed oxpecker. So I'm not 100% sure if yellow-billed oxpecker actually occurred in the Eastern Cape. They probably did, but I've never seen one of those in the Eastern Cape before, so I'm not too sure on that one. Yeah, with all these animals shuffling about this afternoon, one thing hasn't changed. I'm wondering if all of you can spot it. It's still pretty much in the same place as when we were here before. It's one of the animals. Let's see if we can get some feedback there. Which animal is still sitting in the same position as they were, as all these other animals have gotten up and started shuffling? It's a little bit of a wrestling match going on between those other wildebeest there. Yeah, we often see this when certain animals like wildebeest come down to the water, have a drink, and they decide to just stand about, and you find that these younger bulls start sparring with one another and just taking that moment just to build more of their strength. Yeah, Mr. H, UAE 87. Ah, for sure. Now these animals all need to watch out for those crocs, because crocodile comes when you least expect it. That's the way crocodiles work.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve. Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
Because we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Out here, every wild moment matters, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel, ad-free 24/7, where you can even rewind and watch something again. Get access to behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and access to early travel offers. It is the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
All right, Ivan. Yeah, in nature, no, not really. That they, are they predators that absolutely refuse to go for certain animals? In nature, not really. There might be some animals that they don't really catch as much as they do other animals, but not to a point where they're going to say, right, this animal here, there's no ways I'll ever eat that animal if they're a predator. Because, predator means that you're a meat eater, and when you're a meat eater, your body digests meat fast, and it doesn't take long, and you need another meal, and then another meal after that. So yeah, they can't afford to be so picky. Craig, thanks for your question, or your observation there, that you've always wondered, is there no competition between the zebras and the wildebeest here? Well, to be honest with you, now we see there's a lot more zebras here. To be honest with you, zebras and wildebeest don't really compete with one another. They complement each other quite nicely, because one enjoys the longer grasses, one enjoys the shorter grasses, and so they facilitate feeding, where one snips grass shorter for the other one. So they often complement each other in that, for the feeding. They complement each other in feeding, and looking out for danger and so on. So of the species that you find that coexist in nature together, zebra and wildebeest, they've got a very strong coexisting sort of partnership, if you will. Yeah, so whenever you have a species of animal that basically paves the way for another species, you call that grazing facilitation. So you look at certain animals that hang around together. One species enjoys eating the long grass, the other one eating the shorter grass. So the one species paves the way for the other species to feed. I was looking at the stump earlier on. It's a very well used stump, that. You can see it's very polished. If you had to walk there and rub your hands on it, it'll be almost like a bowling ball. That's how polished it will be. Right, some good time spent in the northwest, but let's head off all the way to the Greater Kruger at Olifants West for some sleeping hippo. Alright, wonderful. Watching some hippos sunning themselves on the banks. It just goes to show that it's a very mildly hot day there today. So much so that the hippos are feeling warmer outside the water than in the water. Yeah, this is, if you don't get a chance to see a hippo walking around, this is your next best bet, is when they're laying on the banks and you can truly see the size of the animal, and you can see just the proportion of the animal as well. Definitely very unique looking animals in the bush. Alright, Leopard Lover, thank you for sending this through. So, yeah, it's a reserve I've never been to, is the Pilanesberg. But basically, when you went to the Pilanesberg, you saw a baby white rhino and a baby zebra gallivanting around with each other whilst the warthogs resumed grazing. And you said that was super cute. Now that's when you see baby animals doing things like that. Yeah, I remember when I was at Madikwe. It's one of the watering holes there. It's called Clo Waterhole. It's a huge waterhole, and when you go there, it's almost like you're on a different planet because of the topography of the land there. It's amazing. If any of you have been there, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we were watching this young elephant, and he would run after us and then hit brakes and then run all the way back to mom, and then mom would do nothing, and he would run after us again, hit brakes, run back to mom. And mom would just look at us, knowing full well that we're not doing anything. We're not the problem here. And this elephant was trying to tell its mom that we're being naughty there, and she must come and sort us out. But the mom could figure out that no, that's not the full story here, and ignored this young calf. That was funny to watch. Yeah, Mercedes Bean. Yeah, this youngster. I wonder how old this youngster is now. There's a couple of them. There's one on the top there as well. There's a fair amount of hippos. Yeah, the sunbathing spot for the afternoon. It looks like probably a bull that's by itself here on the bank here in the sand. Right, Craig, you're looking at a decent weight here. So a hippo, 1,700 kilograms for a hippo would be quite a big one. Then spas, yeah, there's quite a difference between the size of a bull and a cow. Yeah, about 400 kilograms difference. So bull, say 1,700 kilograms, cow 1,300 kilograms, around about there. Not too sure what the birth weight of a hippo calf is. I would imagine it's probably close to maybe 70 or 80 kilograms. Right, we're just going to quickly go to Stony Point. I believe the penguin chick is probably coming out. Let's go check it out quick. Alright, that was quite quick. That little chick just came out for a brief look. see what's happening with the world, and decided, nah, too much chaos out there, I'm going back to bed. Picasso, thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to be doing something different, as I mentioned earlier, but thank you for that. Yeah, I like to say variety is the spice of life. So yeah, when there is variety available, take it with both hands. Yeah, it's one thing I must really do is do a lot more research in the upcoming days about penguins, and yeah, just the coastline of the Western Cape as well. That's where Stony Point is. I know this is going to sound bizarre to many of you, but I have never been to Cape Town before in my life. Yeah, and I'm going on 39 years old, so 39 years on this planet, and I've never seen the Western Cape. So yeah, some of my friends say I should be locked up for that. But yeah, no, it's definitely something I must look at is researching penguins, because it's an animal I don't know much about. And back in the days when Byron and Jax used to do the Penguin Beach, and listening to their stories about penguins and their experiences and their knowledge, it's a very fascinating animal. Hey, Erica Oldno, you say the Western Cape has been particularly cold this week. Yeah, I can relate. We had quite a cold one that moved through, and just a heads up for everybody, Amakala Game Reserve had over 100 millimeters of rain overnight the day we left. So yeah, I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise that we weren't there. Otherwise, most of our drives, even until now, would have been washed out, because now the sun has just decided to arrive here in Port Alfred yesterday, but on Amakala Game Reserve it was this morning. So they've got some really muddy roads at the moment. So a lot of the roads have been closed due to it just being too dangerous to drive. Penelope, thanks for that. Yeah, no, I'm not there by Port Alfred Canal waterways. That's not where I live. I'm presuming you're talking about the marina. No, I don't stay there. I stay up on the west bank of Port Alfred. It's split into two parts, the east bank and the west bank. I'm up on the west bank, enjoying the nice views of the green Eastern Cape from my deck. Right, yeah, these penguin chicks are not coming out. I think they know we're watching and waiting. So let's give them a little bit of a rest. We're going to go to Camelthorn Farmstead in Botswana in the meantime. Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Tadiwa, for this lovely scene of some dazzle of zebras in the water. Now it's 2 times dazzling now.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now, this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Lady Macbeth, pajama donkeys is the other one. There's so many these safari terms that we use for certain animals. I've heard racing stripes. I've heard so many when it comes to zebra. I think it's just because it's such an iconic animal, and I think everybody's in love with zebra, especially if you've never seen animals like this before in your life. It's only on TV when you do see them in real life. Very impressive animals. Craig, yeah, it's a good question you're asking as well. Yeah, they're still researching more information about this, but looking at the stripes of zebras and how they confuse predators. There was a very nice documentary that was made about zebras and how they avoid predation by having stripes. And the means that they dazzle predators. It's difficult for predators to see them. For us, we see in quite a color spectrum. When we see zebras in a ball running, it can be difficult, even when they're running, to tell them apart, to tell individuals. But then, if you're an animal that doesn't have much color spectrum and you're seeing mainly black and white, you can imagine how confusing that must be. Especially in the open grasslands, when grasses get long, that also helps to dazzle them and blend them further in. Wendy H, you're very welcome. Yeah, it's a privilege every time, no matter what it is that I'm doing with Wild Earth. It's a privilege every single time, and it's nice to be able to explore some of these cameras with you. Many of you have been to most of these cameras before, not me. Most of them it's brand new, but it's nice to be able to do such things together. Mayesh, are you from South Africa? You're saying zebras look beautiful walking and drinking the water. Yeah, it is. And yeah, some of the sounds as well that you may hear. It's also very important about being in the bush, is being able to hear properly and to be able to understand what you are hearing. Penelope, it sounds like you get around. So, just a little bit of information. Camelthorn Farm is close to the how do you even pronounce that? Ngai, Pan, Nxai, Ngai, I'm pretty sure. Pan in the Makharihari by the salt pans, that's cool. Where you were camped on a Botswanan safari once upon a time, yeah? It sounds like you roughed it nice and wild, the way it should be.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
Right, if you have a look at that tree in the background, that looks like a camel thorn. That's the area loba. I remember seeing them quite a bit in the Kalahari, getting up to quite decent sized trees, where I know in the Kalahari the sociable weavers really enjoy those sort of trees. They like to make those big nests that they are famous for. And I think they also occur in some of these Makhari salt pan areas. That's the sociable weaver I'm talking about. Wildlife lady, I'm glad you enjoyed today's experience in the bush. And thanks to the zoomies for doing what they do, and for final control for what they do as well. Now we are heading slowly but surely towards the end, and it's crazy how quickly 2 hours goes by, especially when you have so much variety. And all I need to do in a sense is just sit here and comment. It seems like very easy work from my side. And I often think about the not so easy work, which we often don't think about. And to get everything to how it is on your screens for even the sunset safaris and sunrise safaris and everything in between, that's a massive effort and a lot of work and a lot of teamwork necessary to get this to what it is today. So just a big round of applause to everybody at Wild Earth for doing the absolute best you can do. Penelope, okay, I'll let everybody know that you're saying thank you to everybody at Wild Earth, Chulu, the Zoomies, the chatters. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad to hear that you're going to be around for the sunset safari. Captain, you're welcome. Thanks for the chat as well this afternoon. It's nice to be able to interact with one another while we're watching something that we all love deeply, and that's nature. Alright, something is happening last minute in Victoria Falls. We're going to quickly change camera, see what's happening. Alright, nice little peaceful sighting of some yellow-billed storks. Yeah, I think today's been all around quite a success, with elephants all over the show and general animals. We've had some penguin chicks as well, cheetah at the Hoedspruit Endangered Wildlife Centre. And yeah, just to end it all off on this fine afternoon before the sunset safari is a pair of saddle-billed storks enjoying the last few moments of life at the waterhole this afternoon. Deb Davis, thank you very much. You've been a member for 2 months, and really such lovely comments coming through. Thank you very much for saying it was a good experience, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. And then I'm going to resume my break, and then head out to the land of Amakala with Morgan, who's also on his break, and we'll be doing the live drives from there. But you're all stuck with me for the next few days. I look forward to tomorrow's one. We'll see what nature is going to show us come the new day. Alright everybody, hope you all had a good experience out in nature. I hope you feel like you've had your little bit of a dose of good times. But if not, then you can continue watching the sunset safari, which is going to be coming up shortly. And you must all have a wonderful day further. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers for now.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. Come with us as we discover some of South Africa's most wild places, the Lowveld, the Eastern Cape, and the Waterberg. We'll track and hopefully find some wonderful wildlife while basking in the magnificence of these landscapes, all filled with a sense of African wonder. If you like what you